In the past decade, British supermarkets have quietly transformed your weekly shop. Prices are up by 60%, pack sizes are shrinking, and familiar brands are now unrecognizable. But behind today's headlines about rising costs, there is a deeper question. Have some of the UK's biggest supermarkets traded away trust itself? The answer is hidden in the 8 stores you should now avoid, and the few that are still worth your money. Here is where the real cost begins. Grocery bills in the UK haven't just crept up, they have soared. According to Kantar, the average price of a weekly shop has risen by 60% between 2014 and 2025. This isn't just a matter of a few extra coins at the till. For families trying to stretch their budgets, it means real sacrifices. Essentials that once felt affordable, milk, bread, and eggs, now take a bigger bite out of every pay packet. The numbers tell the story. A basket of everyday groceries that cost £50 in 2014 now costs £80 or more. That is not a blip. It is a transformation in how much it costs simply to keep the kitchen stocked. This steep rise outpaces general inflation, putting extra pressure on those already watching every penny. It is not just about headline-grabbing price tags on luxury items. The increases hit the basics, the things families buy every week. Kantar's price index makes the trend impossible to ignore. Year after year, the line climbs higher, with no meaningful relief in sight. For millions, the impact is more than numbers on a chart. It is the quiet stress of choosing between a full trolley and a balanced meal. The strain is felt most by those who can least afford it, and it sets the stage for the shortcuts and compromises that supermarkets have made behind the scenes. When costs rise this sharply, the hunt for savings, by shoppers and retailers alike, becomes relentless. Portion sizes haven't just shrunk in your imagination, they have been quietly cut back, 1 gram at a time. Shrinkflation is the industry's favorite sleight of hand. The price on the shelf might stay the same, but the actual value in your basket slips away. Take baked beans, a staple in so many kitchens. Not long ago, a standard tin weighed in at 500 grams. Today you are likely to find 400 grams in that same familiar can, sitting on the same shelf, with barely a whisper about the missing 1/5 of your dinner. Multiply that across cereals, biscuits, even toilet rolls, and the invisible cost adds up week after week. Pack weight audits by consumer groups show this is not an isolated case. It is a pattern. Products that once fed a family now run out faster, forcing extra trips to the shop or doubling up on purchases. For shoppers, the impact is subtle but relentless. Portions feel smaller, meals do not stretch as far, and the weekly budget gets squeezed from both ends. Manufacturers argue that rising ingredient and energy costs leave them no choice. But for the people paying at the till, it feels like a silent tax on everyday life. The shrinkage is rarely advertised. There is no bold sticker shouting now 20% less, just the quiet disappearance of value, hidden in plain sight. In a time when every penny counts, that loss is more than an annoyance. It is a breach of trust tucked inside the packaging. Ownership changes have reshaped some of the UK's biggest supermarkets in ways that reach far beyond boardroom deals. When TDR Capital and the Issei brothers took control of Asda in 2021, they borrowed heavily to fund the £6.8 billion purchase, leaving the business with more than £4 billion in debt. That kind of financial pressure doesn't just sit on a spreadsheet, it trickles down to the shop floor. Store maintenance budgets fell by over 10% in just 2 years, and shoppers began to notice more empty shelves and unpredictable prices as Asda experimented with dynamic pricing. The Competition and Markets Authority opened a probe in 2023 after finding that some loyalty offers, like the Super 6 promotions, weren't as generous as they first appeared. Morrisons followed a similar path after its own private equity takeover by Clayton, Dubilier, and Rice in late 2021, with debt swelling to £6.6 billion. The fresh food counters that once set Morrisons apart, bakeries, butchers, and fishmongers, have vanished from over 200 stores since the deal. Staff rotas show a 40% cut in hours on those counters, and former employees describe a sharp drop in training and support. In customer surveys, satisfaction has fallen by double digits, and market share has dropped from 10.5% to under 9% in just a few years. The co-op, meanwhile, leans on its ethical credentials, but price surveys tell a different story. A typical basket at the co-op can cost 20% more than at Aldi or Lidl, and over 100 co-op stores have closed since 2020, many in areas where shoppers already have few affordable options. Sainsbury's, once known for reliable service, has cut thousands of jobs since 2023, shifting most checkouts to self-service. Tests by, which in 2024 found that some premium Taste the Difference meals were identical to basic own brand versions, just in different packaging and at a higher price. For shoppers, these decisions add up to a weekly shop that feels less reliable and less rewarding, no matter which of these stores you choose. Food safety is supposed to be a given, but recent years have shown just how fragile that promise can be. Tesco's 2013 horse meat scandal shocked the country, not just because burgers contained up to 29% horse DNA, but because it exposed the cracks in supply chains stretched too thin by relentless cost-cutting. The fallout was swift. Products were pulled from shelves, suppliers were dropped overnight, and trust was shaken in ways that still have not fully healed. But the risks did not vanish with one scandal. At Iceland, a different problem sits in the freezer aisle. Researchers using the NOVA food classification system found that about 65% of Iceland's range falls into the ultra-processed category. That means most ready meals and snacks are loaded with additives and cheap fillers, convenient but hardly nourishing. For families relying on these products, the cost is not just financial, it is measured in lost nutrition and long-term health. Lidl, known for its no-frills approach, has faced a sharp spike in product recalls. Food Standards Agency data shows 85 recalls over 5 years, with the majority linked to undeclared allergens and foreign materials. For anyone managing a food allergy, that level of risk is more than an inconvenience. It is a potential emergency every time you shop. The lowest standards, though, are often found where prices look the most tempting. B&M, which has become a mainstay for budget food shopping, has racked up over 50 hygiene citations in just 2 years. Trading Standards reports detail expired products left on shelves, poor temperature control in chilled sections, and stock rotation that is more guesswork than guarantee. For shoppers, the threat is real. The wrong product at the wrong time can mean more than just disappointment. It can be dangerous. Aldi stands out for keeping grocery bills in check without cutting corners on safety. Price checks from, which show a standard 70-item basket at Aldi, costs just £121 and 22 pence, making it the cheapest major supermarket in the UK. Food Standards Agency records point to 45 product recalls at Aldi over the past decade, much lower than many rivals, and a sign of solid quality control. Aldi's approach relies on a streamlined range and tight supply chain oversight, with staff paid £12 and 40 pence an hour, above the industry average. For shoppers who need value but cannot afford to gamble with quality, Aldi delivers both. Marks and Spencer and Waitrose have built their reputations on a promise of consistency that most supermarkets cannot match. Independent product tests regularly place M&S at the top for taste and quality, with over 90% of their food lines passing scrutiny in recent which surveys. Food Standards Agency records show that M&S has kept product recalls low, just 30 in the past decade, while Waitrose also maintains a strong record for safety and supplier transparency. Shoppers pay more at these stores, but the difference is clear at the checkout and on the dinner table. Reliable quality, fewer unwelcome surprises, and standards that rarely slip. Check the Food Standards Agency recall page before shopping, fsa.gov.uk/search-recalls, to help you avoid safety alerts. Compare unit prices instead of trusting bold promotion tags to spot whether a promotion is genuinely a saving. Pay attention to date labels. Use by means the food could be unsafe after that date, while best before is about quality, not safety. If you have allergies, choose supermarkets with stronger recall records, and always read ingredient lists closely. Supermarkets shape how we eat and what we pay every single week. Today, trust costs more than ever. As standards slip, Our choices shape the market. The next time you shop, remember, every pound is a message. Tell them what matters to you. Let me know your thoughts below.